Hello to you beautiful beings of light. You're my soul family, you know. Yes, you are. And I want to welcome you to my channel. My name is Claudia, and I'm happy to have you here. So today is installment number 7, or chapter 7, in how I came to realize or recognize and begin to explore that compass that's within us. We all have a conscious mechanism that helps to steer us away from certain things and towards certain things. And so this is my experience that I'm hoping you can take some information from, apply to your own life, regardless of your age. I'm starting this one at around age 20 when I left home and went out on my own for the first time. And so if you'll remember back, or if you want to go back and look at some of the videos, the foundation is set for children by age 4 to 5. And that means that how they're going to make decisions, what they've buried, what's going to propel them from a place where they don't even know. They're not making conscious choices or decisions at this point. They only know, in my case, that the safest place for me to be was as a peacekeeper and not to get into trouble, try my best not to put myself in harm's way, and all the way through to my leaving home for the second time at around age 20. It was my thoughts, ideas, desires were all suppressed. I wasn't taught how to communicate or even to defend myself. And so the defenses that I came up with were avoidance and peace, keep the peace. So by the time I left home at around age 20, I was ill-equipped for any aspect of life. I don't think I'd ever made a major decision. And the one major decision I made before I left, might have been just after I left, got absolutely squashed, and I was crushed. And it was put the icing on the cake, or the lid on the coffin, if you want to call it that. That might be more appropriate. So that's where we're headed. I'm going to talk about the 20s. And in my 20s, so you might want to grab a piece of paper and a pencil and start making some notes or jotting down some memories of your own in which you made some decisions or choices. Some of them are going to be good, some of them not so good. Don't judge yourself. The idea here is we have to go through these experiences in order to come back to who we are. We bury stuff. We're not allowed to do certain things. And so there's a lot of barriers and constraints and, stuff put around us that simply limit us from taking action on our own. Okay, in my 20s, so around 20, 21, I think it was 20, I got a job when my parents and a couple of the kids, the last ones that were at home, took a vacation. I went out and got a job. I went out and found myself a little apartment because now I had a job, and I moved out. And when they came home, I just simply wasn't there. So there couldn't have been an argument. That's no way to start life on your own. However, what's important here is that now this bird has exercised the mechanism that says you have wings. You get to do what you want to do, how you want to do it. And when you're ill-equipped in knowing how to make decisions, things get pretty interesting. So I'm a product of the 70s. I graduated finished what I could of college by that age 20. I couldn't complete because my family, my older brothers were all away at war. It was the Vietnam era, and Vietnam meant that draft, and so one of the brothers was in South Korea, one was in Europe, in Germany, one was in the Aleutians, and so that left me to take care of the oldest brother, who was a handicap, quadriplegic, and so every time he lost an attendant, one of us had to go stay with him until a new one could be found, and that was me after everybody else left. Okay, so there weren't many choices, let's just look at it that way. All right, so by 20, the last decision I made, thinking that it would be okay, was I bought a car at age 21, and it was a little two-seater Datsun, I think. And my dad had a shop and service and whatnot, and I went to pick him up to take him for a ride in it. We went for a little ride. We stopped at the Ford dealers. He ran in, and I'm sitting all pleased with myself, and he came out and he had traded that car in. And this is not a criticism of him at the time. What it did was, this was the lid on that coffin. I withdrew my love. And, you always, and I still hold to this, you always love the person, but you don't condone the behavior. It doesn't matter if it's your boss, friends, neighbors, your children. I always knew that I loved my dad, but that was it. I was never going to ask him for another thing as long as I lived. I asked him to go for a ride with me, and that was it. But, his infinite wisdom, he worked on, he did not work on foreign vehicles. He worked on Fords and Chevys and that sort of thing. And so he thought he was taking care of me. Well, I'm sorry, but that isn't how it works. So nobody asked me what I wanted to do. Anyhow, I never asked him for another thing until way later, and that would have been in my, let's see, what year was it? So it's many years down the road, and we'll talk about that later. All right, so I'm in my 20s. I'm off. I've got this car I really don't want to drive. I have an apartment. I have a good job with a local telephone company, and off I go. I'm, like I say, early 70s, Vietnam era. There's drugs, love, peace marches. I can do whatever I want, and I enjoyed all of the above. And so until I couldn't stand it anymore. It was like I went to, and I didn't do a lot of drugs, but I certainly did experiment. And alcohol, I did that until I passed out trying to climb in a window because I'd locked myself out of the apartment. I'm hanging in a window passed out. That was when I said, oh, you can't be doing this stuff. And I was only 22 or 23 by then. So I guess I learned fairly quick that I'm an addictive personality. I love stuff. I'm curious about everything. Always have been and probably always will be. But that was it. I limited for many, many years alcohol, and now I do very little, little bit of social drinking with my friends now and again. So, but I did, and with drugs, I went to a party one time. This is right around the same time, because by the time I was 24, I had experimented with all that I was going to do. But I went to a party and at a house out in the country, and there was pot being dumped into the chili and into whatever this was. And I knew the brownies that were sitting there were loaded. And I just looked and wandered around, but I did not feel right. This is your inner guidance system talking to you. And so I just really wandered myself out to the car, got in and took off, and I'd probably only been there 10 minutes, if that much. And I got 2 blocks, maybe 2.5 blocks down the road, and here came 3 cop cars. Oh, and where I just came from, drove in, no sirens or any lights going, right? So this was a sneak attack. And that's when the first time I think I said, there is a God and he likes me. And I still use that phrase a lot today. So that inner compass began to kick in because I had wings. I was experimenting, trying things. I got married at age 24, had my son at age 25, and the marriage, which I knew was not, it was, what do I want to say? I knew it wasn't going to work, but he insisted that we had to give it a go, and I just kept thinking to myself, this is just a big failure. Well, anyhow, I finally said, okay, but there's going to come a time when this relationship will become destructive, and when that happens, I'll have to go. So that's going to be a ways down the road yet, but I'm in a marriage. I have this beautiful, beautiful son who's just a delight. And I'm very well suited to being a mom. It was probably the best and most fun and interesting time of my life. Okay, so, and I'm working and I'm moving, and we've now lived in a couple of different places. He went to school for a while and became a tradesman. And then we moved down to the east side of the Seattle area and found a little apartment down there. And from there, I had an affair. And the affair went on for a little while, and what I realized every time that I came home, I realized that what I was doing was looking for love. And for a while, it was what I thought love was supposed to be. Somebody's paying attention to you, and they're fawning over you, and it was probably 6 weeks, maybe even a couple of months into the affair, and that night I had a dream. And in that dream, I'm walking down this road, and the road is elevated. There's big trenches on either side, and I can look down and see, stuff going on. And certainly there are all kinds of things going on there. Temptations are being offered up, and little, all kinds of things that, maybe you want to try that, maybe you don't. And the next thing I know, I'm taking a little turn off onto a side road. And I did not get far down this road. And this little woman who had been down on the side lifted up, came towards me, looked me in the eye, and she says, "You've gotten off the path and you need to go back." And it was a very gentle, loving, wonderful kind of a feeling, kind of a thing. And I felt a little embarrassed when I got back on the path, or really the next day. I didn't feel embarrassed at all when it was going on. It was like the most natural thing in the world for somebody to be coming telling me that, you're off the path. So there you have another instance of that inner guidance system. And, there isn't any one of us dreams. Dreams are a magic mirror into the guidance system that's within us. It's a different language. And so if you're going to do dreams, which I've done many, 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 many years, I have notebooks and notebooks of dreams, and it took me a couple of years to develop my symbolism, which has changed over the years because I've changed. But it's a really good idea to get yourself a dream dictionary and to begin following dreams. And if you need assistance with that and how to go about it, I can help you. And there are books and books and books about it. Anyhow, so here I am, that's about age 27 or so. Somewhere around age 28, I get a job out again in another town. But what's happening is I am feeling very much like this marriage is on the rocks. I'm suffering. I'm gaining weight. I'm terribly unhappy, and for a happy person, that's the worst possible place you could be. And it is the biggest signal that you have that God, our source, our creator, has given us. Your body will tell you when you're not happy. And when you're not happy, something has to give and something has to change. Well, I didn't really know. I mean, I'm getting some signs, right, from the creator, from my inner guidance system. I'm getting signs, but I'm really not tuned into that. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for help, but I'm expecting it to come in a way that I can see it laid out before me. Like it's almost like saying, well, I need a new car. Could you just park it in the front yard for me, please? And expecting to wake up and have it out there. So I'm asking for help, but I knew the marriage. The marriage was really causing suffering from all the way around. And so I had gone to a little place where I'm sitting on, it's like a cliff. I have 1 foot on the gas, 1 foot on a brake, and I'm so depressed that I don't know how I'm going to come out of this. And I'm sitting there and I'm saying, I don't know what to do. I was raised Catholic. Catholics make their bed, you sleep in it. And this gentle, loving, and kind voice said, there's another way. And I just went, what? I haven't tried everything. When I think back to my reaction to that, it wasn't who said that. You know, you're looking around. It's like, wait a minute. No, I've tried everything. I've gotten advice. I've gotten counseling. I've done, no, there's another way. And so I went home and I thought, I don't know what that means, but it just means there's still a way, right? Another way. So I'm going to leave it right there because that takes me almost right up to the end of my 20s and close to my 30s. And it is just about that time that things start coming to me that will help. And one of those things is a dream dictionary. I went to a bookstore before I got on a bus one day, as close after that, and came home with a bag of books and tended to my son and got him down for the night. My husband was off to his swing shift work, and I opened this bag of books and I'm like, this is not anything I picked up. And you relive. You have to go through, how did I got the wrong bag is what I'm thinking. And as I relived it and went through the whole process, it's like, no, this is what you brought home. So I'm going to tell you, just to end it here, there was a dream dictionary. There was a book by Mr. Sugru about Edgar Cayce called There Is a River. And he is a well-known psychic who did work with the other side. And there was a book by Ruth Montgomery called Walk-ins. And that's where I'm going to pick it up next time. I hope you had a good time. I did in the telling of it. You know, when I got into my 20s, I remember a great deal of that. I don't have much memories from earlier in my childhood, but from the 20s on, I've got lots of memories and lots of amazing things that happened. So thank you for joining me today. I hope that you're keeping your own little journal, that we can make some notes and send me a question or two if you'd like, and anything you want to know me. You just hit the description button and all that'll be listed there on my website, my Facebook pages, and how to reach me. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Those are the things that get information about who we really are out to others. And you're not alone. As this information grows and gets out there, you're going to be amazed at just how many have been going through this time of life and experiencing some of the things that you are. Until next time, I want you to know that I love you this much. These arms go all the way around you in a big old hug, and I'm sending you that energy. Goes around the earth, and I hope you're loving on our Gaia too. And until I see you next time, be well, be safe, be happy, and know that you're way more than you think you are. Because indeed you are. I'll see you next time.